Hey, how you doing? Welcome. Welcome back, everyone. So this is a video that I've wanted to make for at least the last month, but I was just so swamped I couldn't make it. But you're gonna love this. 10 reasons why Josh Duggar might get the crap kicked out of him while he's in federal prison. Yes. Now, right off the bat, I want to give you the answer to where the research to this video comes from. I reached out to a lot of inmates and spoke to them directly, either on the phone, text messages, or instant messenger online, who are part of a reintegration program in Maryland, Texas, and in Iowa. They're all in those 3 states. They are part of a reintegration program, a new program the federal government is trying for state inmates and those on the federal level. And I asked them, what are some of the biggest no-nos in prison as an inmate you can do that you may get the crap beat out of you if you break that rule? And this is the top 10 answers that they gave in order, voted on by those who actually spoke to it. And I did reach out to over 200 individuals. Number 10, just like good old Dave in the late show, starting at number 10 with the lowest amount of votes, working our way to number 1 with the most votes. Number 10, the charges that they have out on the street, in real charges and those that they perceive that they actually had or crimes that they committed. In the prison system, you need to think of it as a giant gossip network. A new inmate comes in. They hear that this inmate has charges, and these are what the charges they are. Charges like Josh Duggar has are called bad charges or disgusting charges. Depending on where you are, they have different things that they actually call somebody who has a crime against children. They call those bad charges, basically. Well, this is what Josh may have been convicted of, and this is what he may have actually done. But they will perceive it to be this big. And somewhere in there, in the rumor mill, they're going to put actual physical victims in there that Josh Duggar may have touched, may have molested. Hell, he may have even be rumored to have done even more disgusting things to even younger children. But that's how it starts. They know he has these charges, and where in the housing unit where he's at, they know he has those charges because everybody in that housing unit has sex offender charges. So they know he was convicted of this, but they're going to blow it out of proportion to this is what he may have done. And he could get the shit kicked out of him for those perceived charges as opposed to what he really did. So that's number 10. Number 9, wearing shower shoes in the day room, or the opposite, never wearing actual shower shoes. Now, when an inmate comes in as part of the intake process, they give them their outfits that they're going to wear. And where Josh Duggar is, it's a 2-piece outfit. It's, slacks and a shirt. They give them boxers and socks and undershirts, white t-shirts. They're made by other inmates for inmates. They may not be made there at that correction center, but they're made somewhere else, either state or federal level. So these are not off the rack, Hanes products. But they also give them a pair of flip-flops. That they really cheap flip-flops that are made, in China. That's ones that you would probably see at Dollar General or at the dollar store. Cheap flip-flops to wear when they go to take a shower, and then they take them off and they, as they're leaving the shower, and actually put on real shoes. They have other shoes that are kind of like Crocs that they can wear, tennis shoes, boots, whatever the reason is. But you don't wear those shoes in the day room. And there's several reasons why, but you can just think about what may be on the floor in the shower, okay? They don't want you tracking that out into the day room where everybody else is. And likewise, there are some of those people out there who have been assaulted multiple times because they refuse to wear shoes of any kind. It's disgusting. You have to understand the depravity of the individuals who are there in those actual housing units and pods. Number 8, extortion, protection. I mean, it pretty much goes without saying. They will try to extort you, to get money out of you, your commissary, money, whatever it may be. They may try to extort money out of you, and if you don't pay up, they'll beat the crap out of you because you don't pay up. You need protection because, well, K-Dog is going to get to you, or if you don't pay the extortion. So and if they don't stop paying, they beat the crap out of them because they stop paying. That's number 8. Number 7, drug debts. And with drug debts, they wanted to make sure that you understand that this is drug debts and also, i.e., commissary items. Getting into debt with a broker, if you want to call them that, or you call them a prison store. There are different names all over the United States, on the state and the federal level, for somebody who does this. There's somebody who buys things from commissary. You run out of the item. Maybe you run out of coffee. Maybe you run out of ramen, or whatever it might be, or toothpaste, or deodorant, whatever it might be. You go to this guy and you owe him 5. He wants 10 in return. Getting into debt and then not being able to pay that debt can get the crap beat out of you. Likewise, everything that's out here, something that may cost $10 on the street for illicit drugs, cost $50, $30, whatever it might be, behind bars. Because they've got multiple other people that they need to pay off to protect that, to get that item in. The pusher in the jail, he's got his thing too. And just because you think Josh Duggar doesn't use drugs, well, he may need, Next, affiliations. Affiliations to religious cults, gangs, belief systems, like Aryan Brotherhood. If you get into a pod and there's no other Aryan brothers to protect you, Black Panthers, MS-13, if gang affiliation, religious groups, maybe you're a Koresh follower, Branch Davidian, maybe but all these different groups. Maybe you live in a group that believes in polygamy and having sex with underage women. Those affiliations can get you assaulted, have the crap beat out of you in prison. It doesn't matter. All it has to do is the perception of the other people around you within the actual system itself. And they say, well, we don't like these people because they believe in this, or they're this gang, or whatever it may be. And that could get him assaulted, because there's so much about the religion that Josh Duggar follows that a lot of people really don't agree with. And they don't agree with a lot of the things the Duggar family actually both. Number 5, theft. Steal something or from another inmate, or steal something that belongs to the community. Maybe there's dominoes or cards or something in the day room. The handle off of one of the phones, whatever it might be. It can be anything. But theft. And then the perception that you may have stolen something from another inmate. If they think, well, you know what, the last person I saw anywhere near your pod, your door, your housing unit, wherever the situation is, they could say, well, the last person I saw near that was Josh Duggar. And then they go to Josh, they confront him. He doesn't do it. He didn't do it. He's like, I don't have that. I didn't take your stuff. I didn't take the stuff from the day room. I don't know what you guys are talking about. That perception alone. Because violent criminals are going to act like violent criminals, even behind bars. But now you've trapped them and caged them, and they can't go anywhere. They will prey upon the younger and the weaker victims immediately. It's, feast or famine, die or survive. You have to survive, fight your way out of things. And look at Josh. That boy couldn't hurt a fly. He has to do everything he does on the internet to harm people because the boy is a passive individual. But theft is something that can get the crap beat out of you. Even if you didn't even do it, it is perceived that you did it. Next is the predisposition to violence. Like I was just saying, violent criminals locked up, caged up behind bars in a housing unit that's close where they can't get out. Maybe they're on lockdown because they had a couple shakedowns and then they let them out. And then violence, the tempers, the attitudes, you looked at me wrong. You looked at me. You made eye contact with me. There's a lot of different things that can get an inmate assaulted just on that basis alone. Just being in the proximity of another violent individual. But this one's a physically violent individual. That's something that can get the crap beat out of someone, particularly Josh Duggar. 3, sexual nature. Rebuffing the sexual advances of another inmate can get you beat up. Or, in Josh Duggar's case, let's just hypothetically say he doesn't rebuff the sexual advances of the other inmate. Well, maybe there was somebody else who had their eyes on that first inmate, who's now, enjoying the company of Josh Duggar. That person could assault Josh Duggar because of what they perceive. I had my eye on him first. Whatever it might be. But Josh Duggar could get assaulted that way. Or the love triangle breaks up. And the individual assaults Josh to get what they want. Again, violent criminals behind bars, caged up, no real way to vent their anger and frustrations of the situation that they're in, and they act out on each other immediately, all the time. Only about 10% of all actual physical violence in a prison, state, and federal are reported to the guards. They just knock each other out in the actual, a cell, and then they don't know how anything happened. Oh, you have all those bruises and cuts on you. What the hell happened there? I fell. I slipped and fell in the shower, is what you tell the guards. That's like the 4th time in the last 2 months that's happened to you. Yeah, I'm a klutz. Because you don't want to tell them the truth. Because that will get your ass kicked by anybody who thinks that they're going to come down on you. Or anybody else, or the housing unit. 2, gambling debts. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, and you really should believe this, they play poker, dice, craps, they parlay, betting on gambling on sporting events or anything. That there are even stories of people betting on cockroaches and other things. Will this person or this event happen? Parlay, gambling boards like pick a square, parlay for different events. They bet on everything. Getting into gambling debt is number 2 reason, most likely reason that someone is to be assaulted, have the crap kicked out of them while they're incarcerated. And the number 1 reason they all agree that if you could get yourself assaulted, have the crap beat out of you in prison, is breaking the code. Any number of codes. There are codes for everything. These are rules, unwritten rules within the housing pod. You don't do this, you don't do that, you don't do this, you don't do that. Rules, breaking the code. But number 1 thing that they said will get you beat up by a lot of different people. It could be anybody. It could be the other person who they think is the weakest. They could send after you, say, look, you're going to go in there and you're going to kick the crap out of Josh Duggar because he broke the code. He snitched on someone. But I don't want to beat him up. You're going to do it or we're going to beat the crap out of you. Sending another weaker inmate in to fight him in his actual cell. Or the big guy who's on the top of the pecking order goes in and takes care of business. But it happens. So those are the top 10 reasons, according to over 200 inmates that I spoke with, for the reasons why Josh Duggar should be very worried about the next 12 and a half years behind bars. Because remember, here's your average inmate in the federal system. Then you have other crimes that are down here, and all the way down at the bottom, at the lowest of the lowest pecking order, are the sexual criminals like Josh Duggar. They hate people who commit violent crimes against women, and they hate people who do things and commit crimes against children. This is why they have so much security around the actual housing unit where Josh Duggar will reside for the next 12 and a half years. But they cannot protect him from himself and from the other people who live in his housing unit. Thank you for joining me today. You have a great day today. Hey, you've made it to the end of another video. You can go ahead and watch more content here and subscribe here. Thank you.